This call is an hour. So it's 60 minutes. Then we have a planning team meeting. If you are interested in the planning team, it's the 30 minutes. We would love for you to stay on. Before we introduce ourselves, I want to show you a little write-up about this conference. So basically, let me just state for the record, today is September, and I got to look behind me. It's the 9th, yes. This grew out of a project from the Team Management and Leadership Program that in Landmark. I know some of you don't know anything about Landmark, and that's fine. And some of us have been together over a year, some close to 2 years. So that's all I want to say to start. And I want to get, let me share my screen. Give me a minute. I
Great.
apologize for not being more prepared, but that's what happened. So I want to just share a little bit about the conference, and then we'll each do that share. And after the 3 minutes, I really want to hear from people who've been formerly incarcerated. Then we'll give you a longer time temporarily, because I do hear some background noise. So we've been moving along very fast, and I think that has something to do with
Here we go.
with us, a lot of us being graduates of Landmark. But you could see my screen, right?
Yes.
Would someone read? We're going to just read this whole thing real quickly. Would somebody read up to right before conference, everything in front of that? Somebody be willing?
I will, yes.
And could somebody go on mute?
Neil,
we-
could you make me a co-host and I can help
All
mute?
right, let me do that right now. Give me a second. All right, 1 second, Peg. Let me make Mark a co-host. And okay, thanks. Whoever went muted, that helped.
Great. I'm going to summarize. So our nonprofit Prisons to Partnerships is having our first national virtual conference on Saturday, November 23rd. And we are going to have formal presentations, breakout rooms, Q&A, and collaborative opportunities. The speakers, we have several incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people who will share their lived experience, including challenges they faced, turning points, and the programs and solutions that supported them in their journey to be free. Leaders and volunteers representing programs which support incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people and their families, and thought leaders within and outside the current carceral system.
Great. And who would read the conference purpose, please?
I will.
Thanks, Ken.
To explore what life is like for people experiencing incarceration and after release, including their families. To highlight programs and initiatives that successfully prepare and support incarcerated and formerly incarcerated people in their rehabilitation and safe reintegration into society. To offer new opportunities for partnerships by promoting meaningful dialogue and collaboration. To inspire people to support programs that reduce recidivism, promote social justice, and transform lives during and after incarceration.
Thanks, Ken. And who would like to read the target audience?
I can.
Okay, thanks, Mark.
Our target audience, people interested in learning about or transforming the effectiveness of the U.S. correctional system. Dedicated community members, corrections professionals, teachers, researchers, and students in criminal justice studies.
Okay, great. You know what I'm thinking? One thing we kind of left out, people formerly incarcerated, but I guess they're included in number one, people interested in learning. Yeah, and transforming the effectiveness, of the U.S. correctional system. And so the conference schedule, the event will feature 12 to 13 speakers, each allotted 15 minutes. I think it's 15 to 20 to engage with attendees. We're starting at 9 a.m. Pacific and concluding at 5 Pacific, 5 p.m. So it's a long day. And would anybody like to read the conference segments?
I will. What's it like to be in prison, ready and willing to address the issues that resulted in incarceration while working towards release? What issues typically need to be addressed to appear before the parole board and be successful in getting a release date? What resources and organizations are helping with the healing and reorientation and rehabilitation needed to be approved for parole and successful in life? What's it like to walk out the gates and be on parole? What are the challenges of reentry and what type of support is needed and available? What's working? What's it like for the families? Relationship between parole officer and parolee? Successfully transitioning off of parole. The organizations presented today are doing great work within the current system. But what about the system itself? What work is being done to address underlying systemic issues? What else is possible? What support is needed?
Thanks. So that's basically what we're about. Does anybody want to say anything that they heard in that document for like a quick minute before we start introducing ourselves? Okay, we'll introduce ourselves. It's a broad audience. It's a big undertaking. We're standing for a minimum of 300 people. This is all going to be online. Sometimes I privately stretch it to 500, but right now I'm going to stick with the 300. So Peg, will you time us?
Oh, I got it. I got it.
She's going to time it on the screen though.
Yeah, I'm gonna time it. You just tell me how much for each
Yeah,
one.
so just a minute for us new folks, and let's give
No, for us old folks.
old folks, and let's just 4 minutes for people new.
Okay,
And let us old folks maybe go first, so you could get a feel of who we are.
okay.
You got me on the minute?
Yep. You
What is-
ready?
Yeah,
Go.
I'm ready. Go. Okay, I see the timer. My name is Neil Abramson. I'm originally from New York City. I was incarcerated when I was 17 for a year and a half at Rikers Island. And that was a long time ago. I'm 72. I've done a lot of work with Landmark Education, Personal Growth Organization, and this conference grew out of the Team Management and Leadership Program. It also grew out of a person who's unfortunately not here today, who put on Judy, powerful woman, who put on another conference like this, and we joined forces. That's pretty much it. I currently live in Texas. I'm heading this team, but it is a team. Mark reminds me, and I forget. Thank you.
Okay, great.
I'll call on somebody. That's how we'll do it.
Okay,
So I'm calling some old timer. Tracy.
Thank you. I don't consider myself an old timer. Tracy Hunt in Los Angeles. I am committed to prison reform. And actually I had a call with my friend Brenna earlier who asked me, what is prison reform? And I said a bunch of things that I'm committed to. I go to prison as often as possible and let people know that everyone deserves a second chance. I spread love and possibility. And I'm committed to the world working and you know, whether you're in prison, you've gotten out, you have a family, that you have resources and you know that you're not a bad person. You may have done something bad, doesn't mean you're a bad person. Everyone deserves to be loved. So I'm gonna end there and I'm gonna pass it off to Kent McLaughlin.
Thanks, Tracy. Kent McLaughlin. I live in Spokane Valley, Washington. I did the S training back in May of 1978. I was incarcerated for 46 months at federal prison in Los Angeles, Terminal Island. I am currently on supervised release because I was convicted of a sex offense crime. I have just petitioned the court and am in the process of getting that released off of my 5-year probation, 2.5 year or 5-year supervised release, 2.5 years into being supervised release. I was shocked at what the conditions are in prison. I was shocked at what went on in our judicial.
Frozen, Kent, what happened? We lost him. Okay, I guess we gotta move on. He'll come back. So
Okay.
I'll call on Chris. You got it.
Okay, I'm Chris McLaughlin. I did the EST training in 1979 and have participated with Landmark ever since then, basically nonstop, being on staff a little bit and assisting forever and doing seminars and programs. And Kent is my husband. And so I was appalled at the outcome of his, well, at his conviction, let's just say. And then when he started sending me letters from Terminal Island, it was more appalling to find out what the situations were like there. And I am committed that we are able to transform the justice system. And let's see, there's something else I want to say, but what was it? Shoot. The best part slipped my mind. Well, I don't know if it was the best part, but in any case, it's I'm glad to be here and happy to be a member of this group.
Thank you.
You could call on someone, Chris.
All righty. Let's hear from Denny.
Oh, there it is. Gotta unmute, Denny. You're
Unmute,
muted.
Denny.
Thank you. Excuse me. I'm Denny Doran. I'm an artist. I live in Dallas, Texas. I am a Landmark graduate. I was a course supervisor for a total of about 8 years and did a lot of stuff around Landmark. But as an artist for 12 years, I ran a program downtown for homeless artists. And I encountered a lot of people who had done time. And I assert that incarcerated people and formerly incarcerated people are some of the most disenfranchised folks in our community. And so when Neil said to me a year ago, here, I'm starting this, I said, I'm in. I was very moved by it. And I'm very moved by what it is we're out to accomplish, because what we're out to accomplish is nothing less than a conversational shift in the popular culture as regards incarceration and formerly incarcerated folks. And I'm very proud to be a part of this. I'm very glad to have David Cunningham here tonight, and I can't wait to hear from you.
All right, you gotta pick someone, Denny, please.
David Cunningham, please.
No, what we want to go for.
Sorry, we're gonna introduce ourselves first. Robert, please.
Hey everyone, Robert Thomas. I live in Denver. I started doing personal growth and transformation in 1984, and then in 1985 I got sober and started taking meetings into state and county facilities, and I've been a part of bringing recovery and transformation to those institutions that way. And I am in support of this conversational shift that has not everyone being treated equally, both inside and out, and are committed to having that be altered so that there is harmony with everyone, everything on the planet, a world at peace. Thanks.
Thanks. Robert, pick someone.
Peg, did you go already? I forget.
Nope.
Right.
Thanks, Robert. So I'm Peg Miller, and there's a powerful conversation in this country. Once a con, always a con. So we're out to shift it. And since about 95, I've been working with homeless people, and there are a lot of cons in that population. So in 2006, a group from San Quentin came thinking they'd never get out of prison, said, train us as drug and alcohol counselors. So I've been part of that program. It's called the Occupational Mentor Certification Program, in which we train lifers to be drug and alcohol counselors. They're certified. They lead programs in all California prisons. When they get out, they are the best drug and alcohol counselors on the planet. So I'm just that stand for the shift in this ridiculous conversation, right? I could be once a jerk, always a jerk. So anyway, that's who we are, and welcome. So happy to have you here. Okay, Tony.
Okay, hi, I'm Tony Villano. I live in California near Santa Cruz. I am a advocate for restorative justice. I've been working in that for about the last 6 years, and it's a passion for me. What I see in restorative justice is bringing dignity to the process of repairing harm, and that even goes to the people that have been incarcerated having their dignity and being part of the community. It's a big deal for me, and I'm looking forward to the conference and helping here as much as I can.
Thank you, Tony.
Adrian.
Well, let's pick one more, we have two more from our group before we hit the new.
Karen.
We got three. We got Mark, we got Karen, and
Dana.
we got Dana. And we may want to give Kent like 30 seconds more.
Yes. Karen,
You
you want to
Tony.
go?
Okay. My name's Karen Johnson. I live now down in the San Antonio area. I'm originally from the Dallas area, where Neil and I did Landmark Education. And I've done family area productions, produced teen forums and young people's forums. And that's where I got interested in teens, and I was getting my master's degree in counseling, and I really started leaning toward young people and teens. So I did some counseling with them while I was getting my master's degree. And then my son got in trouble. He got incarcerated, and I had to do some things and be a stand for him so that he would get the best sentence and the best that he could get. So I dealt with that for a few years.
That's your
So
time.
I'm
Karen.
here because I just love this group.
And I
Thanks.
love you, Karen. Thank you. So it's either Mark or Dana.
Go
Mark, you
ahead,
want to?
Dana. Dana, go ahead. Your ladies first.
Thank you.
You're on a minute timer, just so you know that, for people who came in.
Okay, I can speak pretty quickly. I'm Dana Nickerson. I'm from Los Angeles Center, Landmark Los Angeles Center. I'm a graduate of the Team Management Leadership Program. I became interested in decreasing recidivism by bloodline. My mom and her sister both worked in corrections. My mother retired from California Correctional Institute in Tehachapi, where she was over the trade schools that were back then provided so that formerly for incarcerated people to take trades and be able to have a living. And fast forwarding it forward, I created a curriculum that I was blessed to teach at Homeboy Industry for a year and a half, and got into the whole world of how I could make a difference. So that compared with my job, which I'm a staff trainer, work in HR, I looked up and realized that I followed in my mother's footsteps. And not only does that delight me, there's a pathway created, and there's plenty to do. So I'm here to do something.
I love you, Dana.
Thank you. Love you back. Can I have, I'd love to hear Kent complete before our
Yeah.
last, or did he get back?
Yeah, let's have Ken complete, maybe like 30 seconds or 1 minute.
So I served 46 months at Terminal Island Federal Penitentiary, which is the correctional institution, which is the best of the best, and it's a low risk facility. And I was just shocked at how horrendous we were treated, how there was no dignity. We weren't treated with dignity or respect. Also about the justice system and how it mistreated me. So when Neil asked me if I wanted to be part of this, I said absolutely, because it's an idea whose time has come that this system be rehabbed. That's it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
So now I think everybody who's been here on,
No, me, me.
oh, Mark, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I'm Mark Malvin. I'm a New Yorker at heart. I live presently with my children in Princeton, New Jersey. I did EST in 1978, so I'm probably the oldest timer as far as Landmark is concerned. I got involved in this group because Neil enrolled me. He was working on a video project for CGT and on second chances, and I truly believe in second chances. And this was a way for me to help affect that. And I've been a driving force, I hope, in taking what was just a single conference and making us an organization. We today got our 501(c) certification, which is a big deal. We didn't have to reapply any times. It all happened in one swoop. And thank you, David, for being here. I love seeing you again.
Thank you. So I was trying to figure out, David, for those who don't know, David was a key figure for a lot of us in this personal growth work. And he has volunteered, from what I've heard, to be a keynote speaker. So we're going to give him a little more time, maybe 5 to 6 minutes, or, but we do want to be off at the end of the hour. So I was thinking, I did a quick count. I was thinking if everybody took 3 minutes and we gave David a little more, like up to 6, we would be pretty good. And
Got it.
yeah, I hate to limit folks, but we want to honor time. So I'll call on the first person, and then you could call on anybody else who hasn't been called on. And since Brenna showed up early and she got these wonderful tattoos, if you don't mind, would you please start?
And Skid Row Running Club shirt. Yay.
Skid Row Running Club shirt. So 3 minutes. Thanks.
Okay, hi, my name is Brenna Shaw, and I'm not exactly sure what I'm supposed to say. I mean, I've done a couple terms, one at Chowchilla, one at CIW, and I did a juvenile term at Echo Glen in Washington, and I am a double striker. I've done a joint, I've used up my joint suspension, and I'm a member of Skid Row Running Club. I have just over 2 years, 100% clean and sober, from any substances at all. And I'm an active member in the community of AA, NA, and CA. I have a sponsor who has 50 years clean and sober, and I work the steps. If I could be part of anything as far as what I think reform is, I'm still trying to figure that out. But when I look back at some of the issues when I first got out, I had nowhere to go. I had $200 and absolutely no planning, and I'd never been part of a part of the community before, and had absolutely no job, even thought process of, or even want. I had no clue of what being a member of the community was even about. Never thought about that. I grew up in foster care, and so for me, having somewhere safe to live that was not around other felons and other drug users would have been a important piece of the puzzle. And having some planning, having any planning, even being questioned on what my planning was, might have been helpful before I left. And if I could, I've had one job that I loved more than anything, and that was working at a treatment center here in LA as a drug and alcohol counselor. and I wasn't able to keep the job because I couldn't afford anywhere to live on that job. And I don't know if that has to do with my background or what. Maybe other people are paid more. I don't know. But there needs to be some more information on how to get to a position where you can afford to pay your own, have a good job and be a good productive member of the community. And if I can help that in any way, I'm in.
Thank you for showing
So
up.
that's all. Thank you so much for your guys' time, and I'm glad you guys are here.
Yeah, thanks. And maybe, hopefully we'll have some time at the end. We could ask some questions if that's okay with you, but thank you so much for your generous
No
sharing.
problem, Neil. And thank you, Tracy, for inviting me on here. I appreciate that.
Okay, and you get to pick someone who hasn't spoken before, Brenna.
You know what? I'm not sure. Everybody on how about I don't want to say your name wrong. Adrian?
Yeah.
Bruce? Miss Bruce?
Hi, how are you? Thanks for sharing. I'm Adrian Bruce. I currently live in Nashville, Tennessee. I've been here 9 years, from Chicago, born in Chicago. And I wanted to thank Elisa for inviting me. And I currently work in Riverbend Maximum Security Prison, and I teach cognitive behavior. So I'm in prison every day, teaching how to actually live when you leave prison. It's been just a great journey because that's not where I started. I actually was teaching women in the prison, teaching cosmetology. I've been a cosmetologist for 25 years and it started there, but the program closed now. And somebody asked me would I be interested in teaching cognitive behavior for men. In that system, it's been 2 years now. Actually, I just had my 2-year anniversary. And I teach 15 guys every 5 weeks on how to think, on how to change their lives. I tell them you have to kill the old man so the new man will resurrect. So it's a daily ongoing building the new man, building yourself from getting rid of the past and coming into a new life for yourself. It's been so rewarding because this is not something I chose, it chose me, but it's been rewarding to know that a lot of these men in prison, they want that second chance. They want a life that they can love. So I teach them everything from affirmations on, staying clean, on how to love your family and have your family love you back. It's just been a real journey. So what I do is I treat them like human beings. First of all, a lot of the teachers go in and want to see what kind of crimes they've done. For me, it doesn't matter because they're human beings first before they're actually incarcerated. So what I do is actually interact with them on a personal level as well as a group level, group interaction. I give them plenty of projects to do, and they really feel like they're in college, to be honest, because I raised the bar for them. A lot of them have never been in school. Some have doctorates in there. So it's a mixed group and we learn from each other. I make the class really fun because I bring the joy, the happiness, the excitement, and they really, really respect me and I respect them as human beings. I have people who have gone home already who are doing great. One thing that I think it was Brenna that just spoke is that a lot of people don't have anywhere to go. If you've been in there 5+ years, you really don't have anywhere to go. So that's a problem right there that I'm addressing as well on how to make it where they can transition from there in a comfortable setting.
Yeah, thanks. I hope you maybe stick around for our planning team meeting, but because you have a lot to offer us. You get to pick somebody, Adrian.
Lisa.
Hi, it's great to be here with you. I am currently a restorative justice facilitator, and I'm also practicing restorative dialogues. So I'm coming in on the other end of this, and it's fascinating. And I just got into this at about a year. I retired as a physical therapist after 35 years. And Thank you, Brenna, for sharing your story, because I too, I'm a Los Angelian. I was born and raised there. I currently live in Kentucky. And I too, because my mother was incarcerated, I was in foster care for 16 years. And I am very clear that my life could have taken so many different turns, especially if there had been all the technology and the recordings that go on and all of that. I'm sure I wouldn't be sitting here today. I was cute, I was smart, and I was white. And that gave me a very clear path to success. But in the meantime, I was angry, I was upset, I was frustrated, and I was lost in many, many ways. And I made a lot of very poor decisions. So my heart is with restorative justice. It's with simply being with young people who simply have not ever been exposed to anyone who perhaps really listened or really cared. And I'm clear that I have the opportunity to be that person because of my own personal experience, of which very few people know. So I'm really glad to be here, and thank you, Adrian, for accepting my invitation. I love you. And thank you all for listening.
Yeah, thank you. So you get to pick someone, Lisa, and I hope maybe you stay for the planning team too, but that is a big commitment. So, you know, I'm just letting folks know because it's called in at the top of the hour for everyone.
I see. How about Clyde?
Where's Clyde?
Clyde Terry.
Hey, good afternoon, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, depending on where you are in the world. My name's Clyde Terry. I'm kind of on the other side of that. I was a police officer for 25 years in Los Angeles County. I spent most of my time in the Compton and Watts area. I worked undercover, working organized crime, murder for hire, $1 million drug deals. When I came back, well, there's a few things that kind of changed the direction of my life. Is when I came back to regular patrol, I found it very hard to arrest somebody for a rock or for, you know, a little bit of cocaine or a little bit of drugs after arresting people who had kilos and kilos of cocaine, or they were doing it for millions of dollars. Because what I began to realize, well, I don't think I realized that until later. And then I left and went to Iraq and trained the Iraqi police, around a very successful team, came back to LA, and so I'd seen a lot of death, I'd seen a lot of destruction, but a young kid was killed in the city of Compton that changed the whole trajectory of my life. And I knew that I needed to do something. So at one point I was going to quit law enforcement because I felt whatever I was doing, we weren't making a difference. I came on in 1991. We had 19,000 people in the county jail system, which is the largest jail system in the free world. Here it is, 2007. We had 19,000 people in custody. So whatever we're doing, it's not working. So I was like, well, we need to do something different. And I was like, you know, God, if you're real, you got to tell me something, because if not, I'm done. And long story short, this got birthed. Emerging Leaders got birthed, and I realized that we had to do something with people. We couldn't just keep putting people in jail, because I realized that people weren't doing drugs or weren't committing crimes because that's what they love doing. People were in pain from something. And so then I was able to put together the idea, like, the reason a person is doing drugs is because they're running from something or hiding from something, or they're trying to suppress something. And what I realized, and when I did Landmark, I realized that the reason I became a cop is because I was a 10-year-old that got molested. And I didn't pick my profession. A 10-year-old kid picked my profession. 10-year-old kid had me become a Marine and become a cop. And then as I shared that story, it was amazing how many men, gang members, came to me and said, man, thank you for sharing that, because if you got molested, I was like, but I was a 10-year-old kid. I was a little skinny kid. I wasn't this guy. And they were like, that's what happened to me. And I became the person who said, before somebody can hurt me, I'm going to hurt you. And so a lot of people that are in the system are those people. And I'll just say this real quick. We need to do something, because if people don't know what Project 2025 is, you probably should read it.
That's true.
As a cop, they want they can take away your First, Fourth, Fifth Amendment rights. So people need to really understand that.
Thanks, Clyde. You get to pick someone, Clyde. Thank you.
Robert.
Robert Wynn, I believe.
Oh, did he? Okay.
You got Anna, you got, well, I think we're gonna save David to the last. So you got Anna and Jordan.
Anna, Gary, George,
Oh, and James.
Jordan.
and James.
Cool. Thank you, Clyde. That was amazing. My name is Jordan Sale. I'm new to this group. Judy, who I don't think is here, recommended me after I met her in a volunteer weekend through Freedom to Choose at Folsom State Prison a few weeks ago. I am relatively new to kind of the reform and reentry space. I've been volunteering for the past year through Freedom to Choose and Defy Ventures, and basically through my own inner work had an epiphany around really struggling for a long time to forgive myself. And once I started to experience that, realized I wanted to help others have similar experiences. And also in my personal life, I've, really asked a lot of people who are close to me to kind of like look in the mirror and work on themselves. And when through my prison work, I've realized that so many people who are incarcerated are taking their growth and healing very seriously. And so there's sort of like a willing group of people who are working hard to change themselves. And so that's kind of where I want to spend my time. Professionally, I work at a company and we help people negotiate their salaries. And as of about 4 months ago, we actually hire formerly incarcerated individuals and teach them to become negotiation coaches. So we've hired 1.5 so far, but hopefully 2 more in the next 6 months. And I'm really passionate about trying to help people who are coming home find their ways into careers, not just jobs. I do think like a lot of people can find a job, but I see this huge barrier between people being able to find careers that are meaningful, fulfilling, stable, well-paying, and purposeful, like that allow them to give back to the community as well. And so, yeah, I don't really know what this group is about, but you all seem like wonderful people, and I'm excited to be here and look forward to the conference in a couple months. And I will tag, I think, Anna.
Thanks, Jordan.
Hi, everyone. I am Anna James, and I am here in Fresno, California. And I work for a nonprofit called the Community Justice Center that used to be part of Fresno Pacific University as their Center for Peacemaking. And we focus on restorative justice in the Central Valley. And we also have a satellite program in San Diego. And we have actually 23 different initiatives that focus around prevention, working with youth in some of the rural areas in the Central Valley to help them avoid incarceration, and within school districts to kind of instill restorative justice as an alternative to punitive consequence within our communities to kind of change that paradigm. And then we also have programs that do work in Avenal Prison and Coalinga and some of the other prisons in the area. And we also operate COSA, Circles of Support and Accountability for folks who are reentering to help surround them with and resources and help them navigate some of the challenges that Brenna shared around, finding housing that's affordable and achieving employment and things like that. And I'm fairly new to my role, but my role is Strategic Development Director. So I'm working on raising money for the wonderful programs that we do, and also doing community partnerships. So I just kind of randomly connected with Mark yesterday at a family Zoom call that he helped organize for my family. And he said, hey, we should really talk about this. So I'm really appreciative that he invited me and excited to learn how we can be good partners and kind of support the work that you're doing. And Gary will share a little bit more about some of the opportunities with what we're doing for any of you to become involved in.
Thank you. And let me just say, if you wouldn't mind, if you're interested in our conference and in this group, to put your name and your email in the chat, your phone number as well, but especially.
I have it all.
Okay, for everybody.
Yeah, Mark has it. I'm very interested.
Yeah, for everybody. All right, you get to pick someone, Anna.
I'll go over to my colleague, Gary.
Well, good evening, and it's a delight to be with you all. As Anna James mentioned, we work together at the Community Justice Center here in Fresno, and I received an email from Anna late in the afternoon, and she talked to me a little bit about this group. And as much as I enjoy Monday Night Football, I thought this would be more interesting. I'm new to the role as well. I come from the university that Anna James mentioned, Fresno Pacific University, where I served as their Dean of Education for 15 years. So my role here is to help support the educational work of the center. We're developing certificates in restorative practices across a number of different venues. I am attracted to this work. I've been attracted to this work ever since I did my doctoral studies a long time ago. I'm interested in what happens when people are driven by a sense of compassion and empathy, and that becomes the guiding light for their work, and the differences that make when people approach that kind of work with that kind of disposition. So when I finished my time at Fresno Pacific, I'm the director of our the CJC, Sherry Wiedenhofer, and I had been friends for a long time, and talked about doing this kind of work. And when I retired for just a few weeks, actually, and this position opened up, and I really didn't think I was going to enjoy retirement, to be honest with you, and I wasn't enjoying it all that much. So this was a great opportunity for me to do this work. And so I'm excited to be able to contribute. I think what you all do is remarkable. It's inspiring. It's necessary. And if I can help a little bit to help to provide some educational infrastructure to be able to offer coursework that could be university transcriptable and help people along in their professional development, both in terms of the content and moving people up salary scales if they need to be able to do that, that'll be my contribution. I just think this work is outstanding, and just hearing the few stories that I've heard tonight and the ones that I've heard in the few short weeks that I've been here at the CJC is just remarkable, and excited to be able to share this space with you all and learn more about the kinds of things that you all are about.
Thank you. All right, the last one would be James before we hear it from David, if that's all right.
Hello. I was invited by Neil. I have quite the life. I have about 20 brothers and sisters. About back in the early 80s, I was born in South Texas. My mom's second husband, it was a drug kingpin down there, did a lot of coke. My dad was her third husband. So most of my life, I kind of grew up in a lot of that. Fast forward a little bit, 2016. Opened the business I currently have, 2017, had two brothers die of drugs. Way before that, somehow it didn't happen to me. I have about 12 to 13 years now. I give overall grace of God for that actually being there. I've been through Men's Weekend, Sterling Institute of Relationships, went through probably 10,000 hours through Landmark, been through every course in Landmark, just graduated the Team Management Leadership Program. Team 2, first year, my business will be massively expanding, multi-million, and I just have a phenomenal ability to have been able to come back from hell, literally, and not actually be one of the ones that are dead behind me. And I am looking into a lot of the different areas and ways in which I can contribute and make a difference. I'm kind of looking in different areas. I was actually on the phone with a Collin County Commissioner last week about potentially getting into some politics and stuff like that. So I'm just looking at how to use all of that experience and past gifts and blessings to help other people to step out of theirs.
All right, thank you, James. How about David, if you could take just 5 minutes? I know you know how to be right to the point, and then maybe we could end with some questions, because I'm actually, I'd like to hear from some more new people, but I'm honored. I think you definitely led one of my courses, David. I know you've led to thousands of people, but I love you. It's all yours.
Oh, great. Thank you, everybody. What a group. What a privilege to be with everybody tonight. I'm David Cunningham. I was a Landmark Forum leader for 35 years, and I retired from that about 2 years ago. Before I was a forum leader, my whole career was kind of in this area. I started out as a special ed teacher for youth at risk, and then I ran what was called the Connecticut Justice for Children Collaboration, where this was back in the 70s, 1970s. We had to set up a juvenile court system because there was no such thing as a juvenile court system back in those days. Then I ran the the National Committee for Prevention of Child Abuse, a national nonprofit based in Chicago for several years. That was all before I became a forum leader. Then when I completed being a forum leader, shortly thereafter, I got a call from somebody named Grace Jones here in the Philadelphia area. I live outside of Philadelphia. She was part of what was called the End Violence Project. And she asked me if I would join her in going to work at a halfway house and lead a support group for the gentleman in the halfway house. And I jumped at the chance and have been doing that now for about a year and love it. It's my favorite thing that I do. Every Friday night we're there. And I'm seeing a couple things that are just so critical. One is there's just some basic things that we must get done for these guys. One is they leave prison without their IDs. And one of the major stumbling blocks they face when they come out is they go someplace and they go, well, we need your social security card. And they don't have their social security card. Or we need your birth certificate. And they don't have their birth certificate. It would be so easy to make sure they had those when they left prison. It's just a simple thing to get that done, right? So it's one of the things I'm like ferociously committed to, that we take care of those basic, simple things that could get done that make it easier for these guys to transition. And then in the conversations we have every Friday night, I'm just very committed that there's certain fundamental tools we can give everybody that really will have them make it at home with their families. They want to be at home. They want to be with their families. And there's certain conversations tools we can give them that will have them make it. One for me is so basic, which is to get them outside a conversation for morality of what's good and bad, what's right and wrong, what should, what shouldn't be. They've had that conversation their whole life. It's not working. So to switch the conversation from one of morality to one of workability, what works? So if they try to debate, I got this one guy debating, should he carry a gun or not? And if we debate that inside of, what's right about that, what's wrong about that, should he, shouldn't he, we can debate that for years. But if we really look at it just from a point of view of what works, is that going to work for you? What happens if you carry a gun? What happens if you get caught? What happens if you get arrested and you got a gun? If he deals with whether it works or not versus whether it's right or wrong, it's a whole different basis for him to make that decision that I find is really important. So we're trying to shift the whole paradigm from morality to workability, what works for them. And then, basic tools that, we all heard at Landmark, which is the difference between what happens and the story about what happens is critical. And the whole point of the one thing they have to say about in life is who they get to be. So those fundamental tools to have them transition home with that really give them a chance of making it. One of the people that volunteers with us, his name is Jihad, and he was incarcerated. I think he's at a total of something like 10 times over the course of 20 years. He's now been out and clean for 15 years. He actually has one leg he only has one leg. The other leg was shot off by a guy. He was shot 18 times in one leg and lost his leg. If you hear him now deal with his life and the contribution he is, and just this last Friday night, he had this whole conversation with the guy that shot him, that had him lose his leg, where he forgave the guy that shot him. And the guy, it's just amazing who he now is. So what's possible is everything. And it really is possible for everybody that their life works, they stay out, that they have a life that they love, that they're a contribution. I know we can do that, and we can provide them with that. And so it's everything from getting them their IDs to giving them the tools they need. And it's the best part of my retirement. So I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Thank you so much. And thank you for being willing to speak at our conference. I'll talk to Judy, who couldn't be here today. It almost sounds like you and Tracy may want to conclude. It's a more inspiring, but Judy will make that decision. So we have roughly 7 minutes, and I'm just trying to think. I'm going to ask Tracy's support on this. Do we want to acknowledge people? So we're gonna go for a half an hour more to talk about our conference and where we're at. We have a website up, but everybody, the call officially ends at the top of the hour. So if you choose to stay, you're going to have to listen to our planning of the meeting, and that's fine to leave. Yeah, I told you it was just an hour. Tracy or Mark, do you want to say anything more about that? I'd like to acknowledge people. I'd want to hear more from Brenna and Clyde and everybody.
I want to acknowledge everybody for coming tonight and giving us your hour time. It's this is an amazing amount of people. I'm new to the group relatively. And so for me, seeing this many new people is inspiring in itself. And please, we will be promoting our conference coming up. We are in the midst of creating a website, and we'll hopefully get that up and published in the next week or so. Please check out our Facebook page so you can keep up with the details of how to register to attend our conference. It is Prisons to Partnerships. You can
It's
do
spelled out, right? Everything's spelled out.
Everything's spelled out in Facebook. You can do a search in Facebook and find that page. We're also in LinkedIn as well. And thank you again for coming.
Yeah, thank you. So just a few minutes more, but can I ask you some questions, Brenna?
Yes, sir.
What just how are things now? Are they going all right? It's pretty general.
They're going all right. You know, I'll be honest right now, I feel like I got a new little inspiration boost from Miss Bruce, and definitely from David and from Clyde. David, I just want to thank you for reminding me of how important it is to ask people some of these questions. And same thing with Miss Bruce, like asking inmates some of these questions. What do you plan on doing? Where do you plan on going? How are we going to do this? And what's going to be important to you when you get out? And you know, Clyde, you said some things about making some choices because of when you were a child, and you know, because 10 years old is a child. You know, I made a lot of rough decisions when I was a child too, that I'm realizing now came from being them. And I definitely want to go back to these prisons and talk to some of these women.
Thank you. Thank you for the difference you make. So I think, Mark, we're going to end the recording.
No, I'm going to keep the recording open for the second half too.
Okay. We definitely don't want to put that on the website though, but okay.
No, that's correct. I'd be cutting it in.
Okay, got it. All right, so everybody, thank you for being here. I agree with Mark. It's an honor for, you know, new folks, and it's testament to us inviting people. It takes all of us.
Neil, I got to leave in 1 minute. Brenna, you know, one of those things that I saw, for the new people, I've been going and looking at your LinkedIn profiles, and I couldn't find one for you, right? And that's one of those things, like we don't teach people, like, hey, what's the social media and how do I get a job?
I don't have any social media.
Yeah, I got that.
This is the first time I've tried to do this.
Yeah, no, so I just acknowledge you for that.
Here. That's why I was first on here, because I wasn't sure I knew how to do it. It ended up being much easier than I thought it would be, but
Okay,
spend more time.
Brenna's going to be doing the Landmark Forum, everybody. I declare that.
Yeah,
All right,
Brenna,
awesome.
Yes.
Brenna, thank you for stepping outside of your comfort zone and attempting this social media world. It could be intimidating, right?
It's a little intimidating.
And that's what I just wanted to acknowledge, right? Like when David's talking about, like, we don't, we give military people 6 months to transition out, right? And and most programs don't do anything other than, like, all right, here's your baggie.
$200 and a prison ID.
Yeah, right. So yeah, that's just one of those things I noticed. It was like, oh, you've done some incredible stuff, and right. So, like,
I'm gonna sit down with Tracy. We're gonna try to figure this out, man.
Yeah.
Brenna, I put my email address in the chat. If you'll reach out, I can help you with setting up your social media and teaching you computer tech.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know how to find it in the chat, but
chat.
me and Tracy are gonna sit down together.
Good. So I just want to acknowledge, thank you for being here. I know you got a little embarrassed when I said that, and it's like, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. Like, I just want to acknowledge how powerful you are, and but it was just something I saw as a missing. It's like, oh, like, how do you get people get a job now in this new world of getting jobs when like so much of, like, social media is now a part of that, right? And we don't.
Yeah,
those aren't taught.
my tattoos are a burn, so it's a little rough, but
it's all right.
We're figuring this out. Me and Tracy are gonna sit down. I'm gonna sit down with her. I'm gonna follow her.
You're the best. All right, love you all. Cheers.
All right, if you have to go, you go, and if you want to stay, you're invited.
I'm glad there's people like you guys in this world. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Glad for you, Brenna.
We're thankful for you.
You guys have a blessed night.
You too.
I'm gonna try to figure out how to get off this. I think I just closed it out.
Leave. Yeah, I think there's an end.
Okay. All right.
Bye.
Again, we do this once a month on the second Monday of the month.
There's a leave button in the bottom right.
Okay. I got it. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. All right.
See you.
Take care, Brenna. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Adrian, you have to go too. You're going to stay with us.
Neil, would it be useful if I stayed on? It's up. I'll take your guidance on it. I can stay if it would be useful.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Love to have you.
Yeah, we love to have you.
We just love having you, David.
Yes.
David, I have to tell you, you were my advanced course leader. And I've been trying to connect with you for the last 2 years since you retired.
Wow. Okay.
We are friends on Facebook. At least I got that, but I guess you don't look at it very often.
Terrible on Facebook. I'm like Brenna. I'm not on Facebook. I'll take your coaching on social media.
You left a big influence on my life. You because I was ready after the advanced course. I was planning on leaving Landmark and not doing anything, and you got me to go into SELP to find a project, and you pointed out what my project was, which is dealing with autistic young adults. And from there, I just skyrocketed. I've done team, I've done the communication courses. I've been involved with Wisdom since 2016. I'm a course manager for them. I'm the CGT tech supervisor. I'm very involved.
I love you, Margaret. Let's thank you. And thank you
sorry,
for
that was a little personal.
I know. We don't get David all the time.
Beautiful.
I got it.
But it's important that he knows the effect he has on people. I'm sure he does, but acknowledgement.
Thanks. Thank you so
welcome.
much.
You're right. Thank you for sharing that acknowledgement. So what